I'm Tom Voelk for the Seattle International Auto Show, and you've heard all about the 5th generation Toyota Prius, right? I've covered the many improvements: acceleration, driving dynamics, comfort, and of course, design. Toyota invited me to Carlsbad, California to look at the newest version, the Prime, which is Toyota speak for plug-in hybrid. So, in addition to fueling here, it charges here. Remember the Chevy Volts? It's the same concept. Plug-ins are good for those who can't or won't fully commit to an EV. Let's get right to what everybody wants to know. The base price of the Prius Prime is $32,350, though you do need to add the destination charge onto that. The EPA-rated all-electric range? 44 miles, not too shabby, plus the Prime is more powerful than the standard Prius Hybrid. Unfortunately, you can't get the Prime with all-wheel drive.
We're planning to sell about 10,000 Prius Primes this year and close to 15,000 next year in 2024.
Like the RAV4 Prime, the plug-in Prius is quicker than its standard hybrid version, always a win. Now, on these events, we usually pair up with other auto writers. I've drawn the long straw.
So my drive partner is John Voelcker with Green Car Reports. We do get confused for each other.
We're going to hash out the car, plus a few other things. Here's what makes the Prime go. The 2-liter 4-cylinder makes 150 horsepower. The electric drive motor is good for 161. In total, there's 220 horsepower. The two figures aren't just added together. The 13.6 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion pack is under here. Prime adds 350 pounds, or 159 kilos, to the standard hybrid's weight. With any amount of charge, Prime defaults to full electric propulsion, no engine noise at startup. There are dynamics that can be changed, but even in pure EV mode, the gas engine kicks on under hard throttle. And yes, there are drive modes. With limited time, I didn't really assess them. And there's the hybrid power flow graphic we've come to know and love.
One more super cool tech option for the premium grade is the available 185-watt solar roof. Not only does it look stylish, but it takes the energy absorbed by the solar panels and routes it to the EV battery for charging when the vehicle's parked, and to the 12-volt accessory battery while the vehicle's driving.
This is how the eCVT changes direction. Add regen by pulling back a second time. It's not full one-pedal driving, though. Prime's extra power easily compensates for the additional heft, and so you know, the Prime is stealthy. Other than some different wheels, lens treatments, and this that reads more like Prima, Prime looks pretty much the same as Prius Hybrid. Nothing wrong with that anymore.
All right, 0 to 60 in 6.6 seconds. Yeah, I think it's in the ballpark. I mean, you put your foot hard into it, the gas engine comes on. That's okay.
Yeah.
You're asking for it.
Yeah. It's a decent detent, so you really have to know that you're asking for the gas station and bang it all the way down to the floor. Yeah. And that's really all you can ask.
Right.
Acceleration is satisfying, and as long as there's charge in the battery, Prime will run on electric power only, at least until it hits 84 miles an hour.
I don't know about you, but 80% of Prius drivers around me in upstate New York are clearly working to maximize mileage. I think that's the nicest way to put it. The other 20% have clearly got their foot flat on the floor at all times, and I have been passed at probably 90 miles an hour by somewhat battered-looking Priuses going hell for leather, and I thought, you go, girl.
Yeah.
On electrons only, Prime has the advantage of any EV, a smooth, hushed quality. Once the engine kicks on, it's refined and unobtrusive like the standard Prius, but it's still unwelcome. You get used to the electric side very quickly.
One thing that I found in the regular Prius is that the steering weight is just about perfect, right? It's got some heft to it. It's not overly light, but it's not really heavy. And there's a little bit of road feel. It's not completely numb. You?
Same thing. I didn't notice it. I was focusing on other things, and that's good.
This top trim XSE Premium with 19-inch wheels is rated at 39 miles of EV range. It's hard to do a real-world test on events like this. The base SE achieves that 44-mile range with smaller 17-inch wheels. It cuts a lower profile to the wind. Ground clearance drops 0.4 of an inch.
Very controversial. I want to know how you feel about it. The gauge cluster, I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with it too.
Yeah.
I use the gauge cluster largely for speed. I can see it for speed. If it's a good head-up display, I wouldn't mind one of those.
Yeah. I'm 5'9". You're taller than I am.
5'11".
Okay. Headroom. There's a lot of complaints about the standard hybrid being a little tight in headroom, and this is the same. Your take on that?
I'm about half and half legs and torso. A lot of this is individual.
Sure, yeah.
For those people who have really long legs, probably not a problem, except for having to duck under what may be the world's most steeply raked pillar. If I remember, there's a stat out there that this has the most steeply raked pillar of any product the company has ever built, except for the Lexus LFA, which is incrementally steeper.
The Prime is as efficient as you make it. Let's say it gets 35 miles of electric range. Plugged in every night, that's over 12,000 annually. The standard Toyota Safety Sense 3.0 suite of ADAS technology is solid. It includes automatic emergency braking, adaptive cruise control, and automatic high beams. And there's more.
We're also really happy to announce a new feature that's a first for Toyota and standard on Prime: traffic jam assist. This system helps take some of the stress out of low-speed stop-and-go driving by assisting drivers with acceleration, braking, and hands-free steering. Traffic jam assist works in conjunction with dynamic radar cruise control and lane tracing assist. When these systems are activated, radar sensors detect if traffic is slowing, and the system will assist the driver with active supervision.
Largely, the cabin is the same as Prius Hybrid, so I'm not going to dwell on this. If you like the color red, there's a lot of cardinal trim in Prime. Some is closer to rose. Door cards are black on black. Now, interesting that all Primes get a heated wheel. You might recognize this smallish one from the BZ4X, but bun warmers begin at the mid-trim XSE. I would rather have warmth on the tiller, given the choice. This fixed glass roof is standard on the Premium, optional on the regular XSE. Toyota's new user interface is largely operated with natural voice commands. This is the larger 12-inch screen. It includes a year of free connectivity. After that, it's a subscription service. There are some good storage cubbies in the Prime, just like the Hybrid, especially this excellent phone charger. It holds very securely. There are enough hard buttons, too, if you don't like talking to your car. Android Auto and Apple CarPlay are wireless.
I'm 5'9". Knee, leg, and foot room are just fine, but headroom, I've got about that much. Something to check on your test drive.
Nearly anything can be charged. The seat is wide enough for 3 average-sized adults, but those tall of torso may bump their heads. Check on your test drive.
Remember, this 5th generation Prius has less trunk room than the outgoing model, and the Prime has a larger battery, which has to go somewhere, right? Does it affect cargo room? No, not at all.
It's 20.3 cubic feet, though the base SE version of Prius Hybrid is 3 cubic feet roomier because it eliminates the divided tray. There's a useful power outlet, and the security shade can be kept in the car at all times. That's not always a thing. It's a bit of a reach to drop the seat backs. The floor is pretty flat. Seats down, Toyota says that this is 26.7 cubic feet. That seems conservative. I feel Prius and RAV4 Primes are the best vehicles that Toyota makes. The 2023 Prius Prime will be sold in limited numbers, so check with your local Toyota dealership to see if they have one to test drive. Could be the perfect vehicle for lowering your gas budget in a stylish way. For the Seattle International Auto Show, I'm Tom Voelck.